Hey guys, welcome back to Let's Play .hack.gu. Last time, Haseo is pretending to be Adeli's friend, so he can get her to be their healer in arena battles, which he's only doing because he picked a fight with a stranger. So that was fun. And just spun around there because my controller was probably acting up again. So there's not really much left to this area. I just didn't want to make the last episode super long. Yeah, it's not going to be... There's a pretty important... Well, I don't know if I'd say important, but there is a pretty big... I don't even want to say big. There's a story moment coming up between Haseo and Adeli that I think is pretty critical for their relationship. So that's probably going to be the highlight of this video. But we're just cleaning up here. I just didn't even bother showing these. It's like, whatever. I love how those little boxes make that shake. There's something about that shake noise that's really cool. And those like little sound effects when you make the button presses on there. So that's nice. Yeah, another cool thing that I don't think I really mentioned is I like the character art that they put in the status screens itself. That's... You know, I still like the character art in this game. In the first series, you only really got character portraits inside of circles. Kind of like how Twitter icons are right now. And, I guess the Google Plus thing. I don't know. I was never really into Google Plus. Those character arts in the first series were drawn by one of my favorite artists, Yoshiyuki Sadamoto. He did a lot of the character art for shows like Evangelion and FLCL and .hack. So a lot of the official artwork you see is like that, and it's kind of like reminds me of the first couple of generations of Pokemon official artwork, where it looks like it had like, I don't know, like it was kind of like watercolory. So he did the covers for the GU games, but he didn't actually do any of the artwork for like in-game stuff here, which is disappointing, but you know, since it's so different from the original series, I don't really mind too much. I still like the artwork here. Some of it actually reminds me of, like, I'm sure it has a style name, but like the Legend of Zelda Wind Waker artwork, because you didn't really see it with Haseo and Adeli here, but like the outlines they use kind of reminds me of some of the outlines used in Wind Waker. Well, we'll see future characters have more stuff like that in the next volume, I think. Yeah, we did. We leveled up at least a few times.
Aren't so bad every now and then.
I'm so glad. I don't really care much for simple level raising. That's not why I play the game. If you're always concerned with numbers, then you won't notice other beautiful things around you.
Yeah, Haseo. Level grinded to level 133.
Been to the arena? Like, fighting it?
No, I haven't. I find the whole idea of players fighting against each other kind of scary, really.
Is it?
Defeating other people just so you can build up your rank? Well, to be blunt, I hate that kind of thing.
But, you know, I think it would be good for you to learn a little bit more about the
It's
world.
totally an excuse, but Haseo's got a pretty good point. Just like it's better for Haseo to experience more points of this game, I think it would be good for Adeli too as well.
Do you really enjoy winning over other people?
What are you talking about? Yeah, who doesn't?
I don't. Or rather, I've never really had a chance to win anything yet. But I do know what it feels like to lose, and how painful that can be. This place, It was used as a quest when I just started playing. It was a time attack quest. I came in dead last because of the way I am. And everybody laughed and made fun of me. Since then, I stopped participating in competitive events.
So,
All it really
that's
takes
why
is
you don't
one
like the
bad
arena.
experience with something to completely
It's not just the
kill your desire to try it again.
higher level than others, finding better weapons than others. So what is that supposed to prove? I mean, what's the point of defeating your opponent just to show off your power?
I get and appreciate what Adelie, like,
Well, it's only natural for players to want to be
wants
strong in an RPG, right?
in, you know, her enjoyment of this game, but
Haseo,
like what Sayo just said,
goal in
it is kind of weird considering this is an, you know, an RPG. It's kind of one of the big points of playing the game.
And to enjoy things like flowers blooming around your ankles. Nice things like meeting all sorts of new people.
Something you really got to keep in mind is this game is kind of played with those
Slow down,
VR headsets,
stop, and to enjoy?
so it's supposed to be more of like a virtual reality experience.
It's impossible. I can't take this
Oh
anymore.
man, Sayo lost it.
What are you, an idiot?
All the salt is being spilled right now.
All of this. All of this. All of this. He's nothing more than a bunch of computer data. It's just a bunch of fake stuff made by slapping textures on top of polygons. How the hell do you find any part of this made-up world beautiful?
Haseo is not an art kind of guy.
There's only one thing that's real about this world, and that's us, the players. Getting stronger and defeating your opponent. Those are the ways that all of us keep connected. That's the way this game is played. What's wrong with that, huh? Answer me! Tell me, what's wrong with that?
Man, Haseo.
Leave. Damn, you're so irritating. Don't show your face again.
God, so extreme. Such a salty jerk.
Damn it. Don't go telling me crap like slow down with Shino's face.
And you know, that's probably one of the better things to make you sympathize with Haseo. But for me, it's not enough. Like I said earlier, we never really get to see Haseo and Shino interact with each other. We kind of just have to, like,
Player for the arena. Might as well go back
accept and guess what happened unless you want to go and watch Dot Hack Roots, which I remember so little of that I couldn't even, you know, vouch that that would be enough to make them understand that relationship or not. So all we really have is Haseo just being a jerk since almost the beginning of the game. So it's not like people might want to defend Haseo and be like, yeah, that's a good point, and it is a good point, but just, you know, for other people like me, it's just not enough. You know, Haseo's just like an angsty, jerky kind of guy, and we never really get to see why, except he was PK'd on his first day playing a video game. Which is kind of ironic, because something that I don't really think is... Something I'm curious to see if it's stated in the games itself or if it's supplemental material is... Haseo is supposed to actually be a character from the previous generation, who also happened to be a PK. So, you know, that's, I guess, a big point in GU that I never really got on the bandwagon for, because I guess once that knowledge came out, I was already kind of done with the series. May have even been done with anime, for that matter. So I'm curious to see if there's anything in the game itself that reveals that, or if it's just, you know, another manga adaptation or whatever. The thing that actually revealed it wasn't even released in the US, as far as I'm aware, so that's even more of just like I don't know. That character that Haseo was, who happened to be one of my favorite characters from Dot Hack Sign, which was the anime from the first generation. So, it's never fun seeing a character you like turn into such a obnoxious jerk in the sequel. But I don't know. I guess it is what it is. I just think it's funny because it's like Haseo took being PK'd on his first day so seriously and so much to heart that he became a PKK afterwards. Well, I guess that has more to do with Shino being PK'd by Tri-Edge and put into a coma. But still, it's like, if what people are saying is true and Haseo really is that character, then, well, kind of ironic that he enjoyed PKing so much and that it was harmless and that it was fun and whatever back then, and how, much it sucks now. Guess you can also use that as an argument where it's like, oh, well, that's a pretty good character growth for him, because it's like, it wasn't so harmless, and it turned out to be a big deal with extreme consequences. And it's like, yeah, I get that and everything. I don't know, though. Like, when it comes to stuff like that, I kind of... with expanded universe stuff, it's like, it's a little tricky, because it can add a lot of depth to a series, but at the same time, it's like, if so much critical stuff is explained in supplemental material type things and not the core experience, which I consider the GU series core experiences to be Dot Hack roots and the games themselves. And since not every person that enjoys video games enjoys anime, I'll still argue, GU, the games, kind of needed to have this information and present that kind of information better than they did. Like, they really... I really think they should have showed more of Haseo and Shino, and even Ovan's relationship. Because it's all kind of, like, just implied, like... Haseo clearly had a thing for Shino, and Ovan had obviously played some kind of role in Haseo's life. And he up and disappeared. And, that all really sucks. I'm not gonna say Haseo doesn't have a reason to be upset. I just think, as the game it is right now, we, as the players, just don't really know or understand that too much. And it's never really given any kind of more depth in the first volume. Maybe it will in number 2 and number 3. I honestly don't remember. And that's kind of like the fun thing about replaying Dot Hack games every time, because as much as I played them, I never remember all of, like, the plot details and everything. So it's always fun to, like, just kind of experience the story and just kind of remember new things as if I'm experiencing them the first time. Alright, so this dungeon here, we had that message board thing where someone says there was a treasure chest I couldn't open or something like that. This is that area, and it's super short, so I thought it would be good to do this now, since we only did like half an episode with Adelie. So this is kind of like a recurring side quest throughout the game, and what happens is if you do all of these, then you'll have an optional post-game experience with a tough boss, and the reward you get for it really isn't worth it, but it is a unique monster, and this game needs more unique monsters, so I end up going through it. Maybe if these dungeons were actually like dungeon lengths with like multiple floors and many battles, but these all are usually just a straight shot towards this little mini battle here. You'll meet this guy 3 times and he'll summon zombie goblins, basically. It's not a big deal to win. Can be taken care of very quickly. Yeah, and they'll counter with poison, or they have some kind of attack that poisons, or something. But they're not really a big deal, unless you're under-leveled. They should go down pretty easily, even with the status effects on top of you. But yeah, it's like, with a game like .hack, it's kind of interesting because it doesn't really lead you to like many opportunities to have side quests. So I think things like if you wanted to explore the message board and find the posts that you can reply to and eventually get an optional area, I think that's kind of interesting in its own way. Because basically the entire game is just like you have the hub world and the root towns, and you select an area from there to go to, and it's the same type of areas all the time. It's like there's no like path or journey to go to a new area. It's literally just warping you there without really exploring a world of any kind. So the only way to really have side quests is to just kind of use what you have, and this is through like maybe optional emails or forum posts. I don't know. At the same time though, like I don't know. I don't really think .hack needed side quests, or at least GU. Like they're all really just to pad the game out, and that's maybe what side quests are for in the first place. But you know, each volume of GU is not as long as a normal RPG. It's still a little intimidating because, you know, 3 volumes long. That is gonna add up to a maybe longer than usual RPG from, you know, the mid-2000s, but, you know, it kind of feels like most of these things was just to, like, give people more stuff to do to play the game while they're waiting for the next volume to come out. But yeah, that was the first one. It was, like I said, no big deal. Haseo needed to vent some steam off after he totally lost it with Adelie. So, I guess next time we'll see if Haseo makes up with Adelie. So, we'll see you guys then, and hopefully, you know, Haseo won't be quite as salty as he was this time.